Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the delightful topic of the fear of death, and I think this is something that a lot of people have felt at one point or another in their lives, whether just like anxiety or fear of death, either when they have faced a kind of near-death sort of experience or just, I don't know, as you're thinking about things through life. And some people have learned to cope with it in their own ways, and some people haven't. I think this is kind of an interesting topic to talk about, although something that people don't generally want to talk about as much. And I think it's kind of, when you really think about it, it is probably one of the most irrational fears of all, because it's something that's inevitable, and it's something that you'll never really experience. So people can have fears of spiders, fears of socializing, fears of, I don't know, heights, and those are all fears that can be justified because there is a possibility of you experiencing something that could result in injury or something like that when you encounter those types of things. But you yourself never encountered death, because hypothetically, in any type of hypothetical situation where many things could exist, where, you could come encounter something, death would never be anything that you could experience, because it's the lack of being able to experience life. So I think the fear of death is more of a fear of maybe losing people you love, or the fear of dying before you get to live, the life that you want, or not being able to live forever. It's like the lack of being able to do things, or the fear of the pain of dying, or what the experience is like, or seeing other people, how it affects other people around you, or maybe what comes after life. Just those types of things, I think, is what a lot of the fear of death is kind of surrounding. For me, this kind of developed after I lost my religion, after I was no longer Christian and started, I lost my belief in an afterlife, and through that, it was such a big thing in my life that had been taken away, and a source of comfort, like the source of comfort of feeling that that it's going to be a perfect afterlife in heaven. Like, if you have ever had like the greatest source of comfort in your life taken away from you, then it can feel like this great anxiety and fear of, okay, now I don't have this, I need to be able to cope with it. For me, that's kind of what it was. At first, when that happened, I had just this huge wave, like, of just anxiety and doom and dread, and it lasted for maybe a few weeks, and it was just, I woke up and it was just dread, and then the whole day went like that, went to bed, barely could sleep, and it was just this all-consuming thing. And after that went away, it was kind of like nothing. The thing is, during those times, the only thing that made me feel a little bit better was that, okay, at least I'm not going to experience that. But even, when I think that, it's just, during those times, it's just like, it doesn't matter what you say to yourself, you will never change the way you feel about it. And so after that, it was just kind of like, just, under the surface, just below the surface. And every time it came to the surface, though, it was like this huge wave. And then it would just come down a little bit below the surface again. So for me, it's always kind of in the back of my mind, but not to the extent that it's very detrimental to my life. But I do get these waves, and when they hit hard. Sorry, I'm speaking in metaphors that are kind of dumb, but and just kind of happens occasionally. So that's kind of what it's like for me. It's like any kind of thinking about it doesn't make it better because it's just kind of this emotional thing that I can't control. And then when, you know, it's just under the surface, I can control it and kind of talk myself through it, that it's irrational and things like that. It's kind of interesting because I do have, you know, an interest in a lot of things that are dark and on the dark aspect of life, and I embrace that. But you know, and the anxiety about death doesn't interfere with that most of the time. But I end up like sometimes watching like YouTube videos, like Rob Dyke's YouTube videos, that have to do with a lot of real life crime type of things. And those things, sometimes when I do have a lot of anxiety at the time, do cause me to have even more anxiety about it, but it's still something I'm interested in. So it's just this kind of weird thing that it's like I'm still drawn to it, but I know it's going to make my mental health go crazy. I don't even know. It doesn't make much sense. So I think like a lot of times when people have a fear of death that they can't come to terms with, it might be because of kind of a worldview shift or a kind of change in a fundamental way of thinking that can be hard to grasp after thinking something for so long. And so I kind of am, you know, jealous that some people can still find comfort in the way that I did before, but I'm not going to change my belief just because of that. I think that the truth is more important, even if it's, you know, causes me anxiety. It's the truth. You can't run away from it. You can't just act like it doesn't exist. And so yeah, I mean, like, it's like not everything is great in the world. There are a lot of really shitty things that happen, and it's, you know, something that people have to accept, I guess, but it is difficult to deal with sometimes. And so, yeah, I think this is one of the things that, like, it's easier for some people to cope with than others, because I know some people can just, you know, rationalize it and then they're fine with it, or they've had some sort of experience that makes them accept death. I don't know. Because when you do think of it rationally, it doesn't make sense to worry about it. But if you think with your emotions, then, you know, that's where all the craziness happens. But yeah, so I just thought this was interesting to kind of ramble about. If you guys have any thoughts on it, let me know, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!